What's up, everyone? Matt here, continuing on with the mountain bike build series. This is going to be build video number 2. Today we're going to work on brakes, handlebars, grips. It's going to be a little different than probably what most people do because I'm going to throw away most of it. I don't really necessarily care. Today we have P&W loam grips, P&W aluminum handlebars. I can't remember the model. I'll link it all in the description. And we also have these, I believe they are Shimano 2-piston brakes we're going to be putting on. I also have a 50/50 stem we're going to do. I also don't have a torque wrench with me that can do low enough foot-pounds, newton meters torque. So I'm going to do everything hand tight, and then I'll just retighten it all up in my own time. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start by removing the brakes because the brakes can come off with the handlebars. I don't need them. I'm not keeping them. So I will say, after our first video, I have taken the bike out on a 7.5-mile mountain bike ride. Really just kind of a hilly forested loop area. Nothing crazy. I was very, very pleased with the performance of these tires compared to stock tires especially. It was quite nice being able to not slip and fall and have traction for a change. So, big advocate of getting worthwhile tires in your life. Oops. Right. I said this side can stay on. This can actually stay on entirely. We do need to take off this side because I do need to get the shifter off. So we'll have to see. I don't believe that I will be able to just pull this off. I will probably have to slide off the hand grip to get this off. Yep, we're gonna go ahead and say we do. I don't want to risk breaking my shifter. Everything nice and loose. So if you wanted to reuse your grips, you could blow it out with air compressor. I'm just gonna cut it off. don't care to reuse them, and I'm not going to because I've got some nice peanut butter ones from P&W. All right. All of this should be pretty loose now, honestly. Should be good to go. Oops. Did not mean to shift. Ooh. We have, can't lose this. That is the nut to tighten this. Let's see. We're going to tighten this back up into there. That way I don't lose that nut. That is how it connects. All right. Again, I actually have a new stem, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave all of the rest of this actually attached. I'll pop this up. It's not big enough. Take out the center bolt. Now we need to take off the stem, and we'll be able to pull the whole bars right off immediately. And that was not very smart of me. All right, we are back after that little fiasco. I'm going to leave it in there so you guys can see it especially. We're back. As you can see, my fork fell out. Everything fell apart. Trying to figure out how to even get it back together. I think I've got it back together correctly now. I just need to start tightening it up. That was really kind of dumb of me, honestly. I hopefully have it all back together correctly. Hopefully. Honestly, just don't know if I do or not. That is way over tightened. It's moving. All right, that seems much better. It's moving. I am not sure if any of these spacers accidentally broke, unfortunately. Hopefully not. We're going to try and make sure everything gets aligned. They look to be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down. This is 6 Newton meters. I have no idea what that is. It is very, very loose is what that is. So I'm going to go a little more than hand tight, or about hand tight actually, because hand tight to me is probably more like 20, 30 foot-pounds of torque, honestly. Maybe more. Seems to be moving good. Seems to be all right. All right. Next up, we have our P&W bars. They are, I think, 31.8 in the middle. They 25-degree rise, 25 millimeter rise, and 31.8 in the middle. Absolutely. So I'm actually going to cut these down to the 760 mark. I got a little pipe cutter. These things, if you can see, are actually marked for measurements already. All I have to do is just cut these right on those lines, and we will be good to go. So if you've never used one of these before, you just kind of put it on where you want to cut. You just kind of score it, spin it around. Make sure you keep going over the same spot. Tighten it down a little further. And you're just going to kind of work your way in until it's nice and tight. Or until it cuts through. Spinning around in circles, scoring it. I prefer doing stuff this way. I do have an angle grinder, if you saw in the last video. I don't feel like doing the angle grinder because I am not the person who ever gets a straight cut with an angle grinder. I'm trying to get these fairly straight, and because of that, I'm going to do this method, which I have used this to cut conduit and stuff in the past. Works very nice and easily, just like that. Doesn't even really take much pressure. Move on to the next one. Cut right on the 760 mark right there. Nice and good to go. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. And we'll be right back. So, piggyback up to where we left off. It said just going to tighten it on. Get it to where you want it to go. Score it. Make sure you're getting where you want to go. You just kind of work your way in. I like to try to make sure that every time, every spin, I slow down and make sure I'm still on the same line. These things can end up cutting at an angle, but so long as you're fairly careful, shouldn't be a huge problem. And just like that, we are good to go. Use one of these heavy duty shop rags and just kind of try to knock off any shavings that may or may not exist on there. All right, with that said, what do we have next? We have to do, we got to go ahead and we're going to put this in here. Let's see, 4mm. Loosen these all up. Probably best to take that out first. Loosen, loosen, loosen. Loosen all this up. Can I just put it in, or do I actually have to remove it? This. And man, kids make life wonderful, don't they? We're going to go ahead. Looks like, no. I might have to take this all the way off. I really don't want to. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Is that the right way? I feel like that is. Yeah, that looks like it's angled correctly. All right, we're going to go ahead. Just kind of snug these up some. Just a little bit so that way we can let go of the bar and it won't be falling off on us. Actually, what we also probably need to do is, there we go. Need to get the shifter on. Yeah, shifter inside of brake. kind of tight. That's okay. We just kind of want to make sure that the cable is going to fit. And it will. We are good to go there. Like I said, we're going to tighten this up some. Just a little bit. Start holding it into place. I'm going to double check the manual. Doesn't actually come with one. All right, this that went that way. I look at this. What I don't like, I feel like it should be going the other way almost. Let's go ahead. Let's just try it, see what it looks like. So you have alignment bars. Ew. No. Dang. This is a dumb idea of me. Let me go ahead and take off the whole front of that. Let's slide the shifter off. All right. It cannot. No, it can't go that way. It has to go this way. Has to. No doubt about it. Has to go on this way. I feel like the arrows to line up the direction are just wrong, however. Unfortunately, well, I have a 50-50. The stem's a 50-50, which could be part of the problem. Let me go ahead. Give myself a little bit more play right now while I'm doing this. So the stem's a 50-50, has an arrow here to line up, and it doesn't line up with the blinds on the P&W bar. Center line will line up, but the horizontal, maybe it's a vertical alignment, is not going to line up. That, not a big deal. Make sure that hasn't gotten lost, and it has not. So, I'm gonna line up. There's a line right here. I know you guys can't see it in the camera. There's a line right there. We want to make sure that's the halfway point. We make sure that's good to go. We are not seeing the other line lined up. I might have to adjust these later. We're going to go with here for now because I just don't necessarily know how best to do it otherwise. So I'm not an expert on any of this. This thing also, these bolts say I think 5 Newton meters, which is again nothing. So we're going to go with right there and call that probably about good enough. And I will adjust it all and torque it later. Now we're going to go ahead and start putting everything on. I'm not exactly sure how far down some stuff has to go. Let's see. The rear brake is going to be that side, so we need the front brake is that side. So the rear brake, which is this longer cable, we need to go on this side. We're going to put the grip on. That is all the way at the end of the bar. That might be a 3, for sure not a 4, 3 millimeter. I think what I'm going to do, just to make sure, I'm going to tighten the grip on. Make sure that's good. That gives us now placement for the brake. These are just going to be loose measurements, or loosely done right now. I'm going to have to probably adjust all these to my likings once I'm on the bike. But just to get them started and secured to the bike, we're going to go ahead and start with that. There it goes. All right. Now, this side. What do we have to put on this side? Front brake and grip, and that should be it, honestly. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to slide that down a little bit. Get our front brake and our 3 mil, or our hand grip and our 3 mil. Slide it all the way on. Nice little love tap. Make sure it's all the way there. Tighten it up and on. Get our 5 mil. Again, none of these are actually really tight. It really does not take very much to tighten all this stuff down. I also don't know exactly where I want it all, so I'm kind of just playing it by ear right now. This is the back brake. All right, front brake, because we're already here. We're going to go ahead and grab on 2 new bolts. These things come pre-Loctited. It is this. Hopefully these new bolts are the same. Oop. Yep, that's correct. Ooh. How did we do this? All right, moving back forward, we got our 5 millimeter. There are these little spacers in between the brake pads. I'm going to pull this out. It's kind of like I did right here. Accidentally kind of did it, kind of messing around. You just want to wiggle it over top of your brake, over top of your rotor. Get your new bolts. Thankfully, they are the same size. At least they feel that way so far. This would probably be a lot easier if I got out my ratchet and sockets, but I didn't. Ooh, even better. Some by hand. All right. Oops. Now we're going to take our little brake cable retaining clip that we took out earlier. I believe this is a 3mm. We're going to get this retained back to the fork. Just like so. Oh yeah. Oh, that stopped so nicely. I like it. All right. Continuing on, we are going to install the rear brake. Need to keep taking off our little retaining clips. Actually, I'm going to have to prop this open so I can dig that one out. We already have the front or the rear brake installed on the handlebars. I'm going to put this up around this way. Trying to unwind it in a way that it likes. And we are going to go all the way back to the back of the bike. We're going to install it before we bother clipping it. So in order to do that, we need to get our other two bolts. Our 5mm Allen key. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull out this little red thing in between the brakes. Split them over top the rotor. Unfortunately, stuff in my way because I had to move thanks to dropping the fork earlier. I needed some support. Where do we put our 5mm? Up here. Here we go. He's snugged up. I don't know what kind of torque they should be at, but they're not super thick and I don't feel like breaking the frame, so I'm not going to go super tight on anything. Let's see. Ooh, do I want to weave it up in here, actually? I think maybe I do. Let's go ahead and pop this back off real quick. I think that will give us better cable routing if it'll fit through. Can't remember if that's the way I took it off, but we shall see what happens. Biggest key when doing stuff like this, these things are just like car brakes. Smaller, of course, but the key that I have noticed when doing brakes is just don't press the brake until you're ready to press the brake. Otherwise, you got to figure out how to split them back apart, which isn't always easy or fun. I like that. It routes up better. It'll be cleaner up inside the frame. That is going to be a much better routing in my opinion. Right. And get some of our plastic clips. You start clipping all this back in. And then my rest might end up being zip tied in, which is kind of the story of my life anyways. So, not a big deal. All right, moment of truth. Go ahead and slide this over some. Go ahead and lock that in. Spin this. Oh, that's the wrong brake. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, it's going to be wonderful to get away from mechanical brakes. They actuate so quickly. And so much better than the last one's mechanical brakes did. I do need to, of course, verify that I have the stem all back together correctly, or the stem, the whole forks, assembly, everything. Otherwise, I think with that said, I think we're done for the day. I don't think there's anything else left to do. So we put on new stem, new handlebars, new grips. We put on new hydraulic brakes. We made a fiasco, a disaster when we dropped the whole fork assembly. I'm not 100% certain that the bottom of the fork is assembled correctly. I think the top is actually good. So we're going to see. I'm going to give it a test ride, see how it all feels, all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I think we are pretty much done for now. I'm going to clean up the chain and lube the chain. I'm not going to do all that on video. I'm sure there's a million videos of people cleaning and lubing chains. Other than that, I will hopefully get a ride out on it this week to see how it fares in comparison. These are much longer bars than the stock bars now. They are upgraded. They are lighter weight by I think a third or 2/3 lighter, or a third to a half lighter. We've got new brakes. This is going together very nicely. I'm very stoked about this bike, even though it is, you know, a cheaper end bike. It is my budget build mountain bike that I will hopefully be tackling as much as possible out here in Colorado with. Here soon I will actually be taking video footage too, so we can kind of see what I'm getting into on this bike, so we can see what this bike is capable of. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy who wants to go ride. With that said, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.